Hello and welcome. Want to play epic battles but don't want to paint endless amounts of miniatures? Well, stay tuned, we're going to tell you how. In this video we're going to talk about the Republican Roman army in Hail Caesar epic battles. At the core of a Republican Roman force is the manipular system. This is a system of units of warriors that are in lockstep in a checkerboard formation, forming individual fists of the armed might of Rome. What constitutes the maniple system? There's three main troop types in the maniple. Number one, Astarte. Number two, Principe. Number three, Triarii. So unit number one, the Astarte. These are the younger warriors of the maniple, less well equipped than their elders, but in terms of game rules, they've still got that 4+ morale save, which the rest of the maniple system all have. They can also be taken with the tough fighters special rule, which gives them the chance to re-roll a failed hit in combat, which is pretty handy actually. Are you still watching? I've not bored you then, have I? Could you do us a favour? Could you like and subscribe and maybe leave us a comment? So, unit number two, the Principes. These are the slightly older troops in the maniple system. They're slightly better armed, but in terms of game rules, they still have that 4+ morale save, which is always good. They, like the Astarte, have Pilum. They give you a ranged attack, which for Romans that's kind of needed because they kind of lack a bit of that ranged attack ability. Also, Pilum gives the enemy a -1 modifier to their morale save in combat. Unit number three, the Triarii. Now these are the big boys of the maniple system. These are the veteran warriors. They're still heavy infantry, so they have a 4+ morale save. They are armed with long spears, so handy for cavalry, just a hint. Something else to remember about the Triarii is the fact that they have the Valiant special rule. That means they get to re-roll one failed break test per game. That's handy if you roll like me. Let's have a look at the Velites, or Velites, or however you like to pronounce it. These are your light infantry. These go out ahead of the main body of troops, go into little positions in difficult terrain, and throw their javelins in, and generally make a nuisance of themselves before the main action begins and the enemy hits your main body of troops. Don't forget to watch our other Hail Caesar Epic Battles content by clicking the videos above. Now what about cavalry, I hear you say? We've got the Equites. They are the medium cavalry of the Roman army. They are good for sending out ahead. They're quite fast, quite mobile. They've got a decent clash value, but don't leave them in combat too long. They can get easily overwhelmed. Another cavalry unit in the Roman Republican army is the light cavalry. They are good at flanking manoeuvres, they're good at zooming out ahead or just zooming to where they need to be in the battlefield, taking objectives and generally getting into javelin range and making a bit of a nuisance of themselves where they can. One thing you might notice is missing from the Republican Roman army is ranged attacks. Now, the solution to this is the ballista. This is a big bit of heavy artillery. It's a real beast. Well worth taking. If anything, who doesn't want to be throwing big rocks at your enemy from one end of the table to the other? Another interesting unit in the Roman Republican list is penal legion units. These are medium units, so bigger units, more stamina than the other maniple units. They are wild fighters. They have that special rule, so that means you get to re-roll missed combat attacks in the first round of combat. They also have levy. Now that means instead of automatically losing any disorder tokens that they have on them, they've got to roll a 4 up to do that, so they're not quite as disciplined and well trained as other troops in your army. So what's good about the Republican Roman list? Firstly, you've got a lot of heavy infantry. That means a lot of 4+ morale saves. That's great. Secondly, the maniple system, and this is both a strength and it's a weakness. We'll come to the weakness later, but first the strength of it. Gives you a lot of support in close combat. You've got those maniple systems locked together in a checkerboard formation. Units behind give support to units to the left diagonally and to the right diagonally, so you're getting supports all over the shop. Really good boost in close combat. Brilliant. You can also do the maniple swap. That's really worth mentioning. You can swap out troops that have taken a bit of damage in combat with troops that are fresh. So that gives you a bit of a boost in combat. We've looked at the strengths of the maniple system, but what about the weaknesses? Now, they're big, long formations. They're unwieldy to maneuver around terrain, so you've got to be careful when doing that to maintain that formation. Secondly, a really clever opponent might try clever tricks and use the proximity rule to draw and lure parts of the maniple system out of formation. That can be a real game changer. Units on their own, small units, they get broken easily. Before you know it, you can end up with a broken division and eventually broken army. So keeping that maniple formation is a real must in Games of Hail Caesar. Well, that wraps things up for another deeper look video from 3 Men in a Shed Wargaming. Look out for some more content coming soon.